Hello everyone, Kortana here, and today we'll be taking a look at TAF, or the Remote Target Designation mode, coming to the Mirage 2000. TAF allows information on a target to be displayed on the VTB, while the corresponding TEL mode displays some of the same information on the IDN. Though the increased situational awareness can be extremely useful, there are still trade-offs and limitations to the system which pilots need to be aware of. First, TAF will only display information on the target which is closest to the currently selected ground station, not the enemy which is closest to your aircraft. Second, using the system requires the pilot to sacrifice the use of the red radio, as the telemetry data is transmitted to the Mirage over UHF. This can be detrimental in multiplayer and must be accounted for when planning missions. Here you can see a small mission that I have built on the channel to demonstrate some of the capabilities and limitations of TAF. I have a bomber to intercept, a 2-ship of F-15s, a Hawk battery, a Patriot battery, an E-2, and 4 friendly airfields. If we open up our kneeboard, we'll see that we now have a new page which includes TAF GCI channels. As you can see, we have our 4 friendly airfields, as well as 2 ground units corresponding to our SAM radars. The channel numbers listed to the left correspond to a new box that we've had installed in the jet. For this mission, we'll start out by tuning Dunkirk and intercepting the H-6J out by the coast. And as you can see, that corresponds to channel 3. We must now set the UHF mode switch to F1 to link the red radio with the EVF panel. So the 4 beeps you just heard were TAF connecting. It will also do those 4 beeps whenever there is an update to the information. You may have noticed that we did not connect until we were in the air, and that is because while it does not account for the terrain between the aircraft and the ground station at the moment, it does account for the curvature of the Earth. With the IDN in TEL mode, we are now also receiving distance and direction information to the hostile bomber. I don't intend to actually fire any missiles today, so I'll go ahead and put the jet into police mode. This then gives me the option to select TAF on the PCA. With TAF selected, we now see new symbology and information on our target. On the top row, from left to right, we have the target's airspeed in Mach, the target's heading, the closure rate to the target's altitude, and the number of aircraft in the target's flight. On the bottom row, we have intercept information for the target. In this case, it is telling us that we should accelerate to Mach 1, we should come right to a course of approximately 010, and that we should climb to an altitude of 35,000 feet. The target itself is indicated by this T-shaped symbol. The arrow extending from the base indicates the target's direction of flight. The number beside it corresponds to the angle between your aircraft and the nose of the target's aircraft. Changing the TDC mode can make it much easier to locate the target on radar if you already know its altitude. And there it is. Those 4 beeps were to alert us that we are now tracking a new target. We now have new information in the VTB. As you can see, the flight of F-15s is now closer to Dunkirk than the bomber is. As a result, TAF has now swapped our target over to the F-15s. But note that the F-15s are still further away from us than the bomber is. Also note that this flight consists of 2 aircraft, as indicated in the upper right corner of the VTB. These 4 beeps were to indicate a change in our ROE. In this case, we've gone from free to IFF, indicating that we now have a friendly aircraft within 20 nautical miles of the target, but further than 5 nautical miles from it. In this case, you can see that that was that E2D. We've gotten another update to our ROE, saying that we should visually identify our targets. This means that we have a friendly within 5 nautical miles, but further than 2 nautical miles away from the target. Now that we've had some fun with our F-15 friends, let's try to find that bomber again. We know he's a good bit to the east of us, so selecting the Patriot battery on ground channel 6 should allow us to pick the bomber up without picking up the F-15s. And there are our beeps indicating our new target. I hope you've enjoyed this Mirage tutorial, and I hope to bring you several more before this update releases. If there are any other tutorials you'd like to see for the Mirage, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments.